The dim light of the restaurant flickered, casting shadows across the room as I sipped my whiskey neat. My eyes were fixed on the couple in the corner booth. My wife, Emma, looked radiant as always, her laughter ringing like a chime. It would have been a beautiful sight, if not for the man sitting across from her. His hand slipped under the table, caressing her thigh. My grip on the glass tightened, the ice clinking softly as I swirled it around. A knot of anger and heartbreak twisted in my chest, but I remained calm. I had suspected something for weeks. The late-night work meetings, her sudden guardedness with her phone, and the faint scent of cologne that wasn't mine clinging to her clothes. Now I had confirmation. And now I had a plan. For months, I had meticulously prepared for this moment. Confronting her outright wouldn't suffice. I wasn't going to hurl accusations into the void. Emma had betrayed me, and her lover, a man whose name I now knew as Martin, had disrespected the sanctity of my marriage. They both deserved consequences. Not vengeance born of rage, but justice, calculated, deliberate, and precise. I'd hired a private investigator to gather evidence. Photographs, text messages, dates, locations. The results were all neatly organized in a file. This wasn't for court or legal proceedings. No, this was personal. I didn't want to ruin her life, only to ensure she felt the weight of her choices. The next morning, I set my plan into motion. I started with Martin. A quick search on social media revealed he was married to a woman named Claire. Her posts painted a picture of a loving family, 2 children, happy outings, vacations filled with smiles. It wasn't right to let her remain in the dark. I arranged an anonymous meeting at a coffee shop and brought the file with me. Claire arrived, her expression a mixture of apprehension and curiosity. I hated being the bearer of bad news, but she deserved the truth. When I slid the file across the table, her hands trembled as she opened it. Tears welled in her eyes as she flipped through the photos and read the messages. I handed her a tissue, and she accepted silently. After a long pause, she spoke, her voice shaky but resolute. "Thank you for telling me," she said. "I need time to process this, but I appreciate your honesty." We exchanged numbers and agreed to stay in touch. Claire had her own plans for Martin, and together, we ensured his world wouldn't remain unscathed. That evening, I prepared a romantic dinner at home. When Emma walked in, her face lit up with surprise. When she noticed the effort I had put into the table setting, her eyes lit up. The soft glow of candlelight danced off the crystal glasses, and a bouquet of her favorite flowers adorned the center of the table. "What's the occasion?" she asked, smiling as she leaned in to kiss me on the cheek. I returned her smile, concealing my inner turmoil behind years of practiced composure. "Just wanted to spoil my beautiful wife," I replied smoothly. The evening began pleasantly. We chatted about the usual, work, the neighbors, the upcoming holidays. It felt normal, almost comforting. But as dessert was served, I knew it was time. "Emma," I began, my tone measured but unyielding. "I've been thinking a lot about us lately." Her smile faltered. "Oh? What about us?" I reached under my chair, retrieving the file I had shown Claire. Placing it on the table, I slid it toward her. "I think you should see this." Her hands trembled as she opened the file. Page after page laid bare her betrayal, each detail cutting through the facade of innocence she had worn for so long. Her face drained of color as her eyes met mine, glistening with tears. I can explain," she stammered. "There's no need," I said, my voice calm and steady. "I know everything. I've known for weeks. This dinner isn't about explanations or excuses. It's about consequences." Panic etched across her face. "Please, let me make this right. It was a mistake, a horrible mistake." "Mistakes are accidental," I replied, my tone sharp but even. "This was deliberate. Repeated. And I can't forgive that. Hashtag the resolution." I had already consulted a divorce lawyer and brought the papers with me. Sliding them across the table, I said, "Sign these. I'm not asking for anything but my dignity. You can keep the house, the car, whatever. I just want to move on." Her tears spilled over as she reluctantly picked up the pen. Each stroke of her signature felt like a release, the weight of her betrayal finally lifting from my shoulders. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe again. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag accountability. But there was one last piece to the puzzle. Claire and I had agreed to confront Martin together. We arranged to meet him at his office, ensuring he couldn't evade us. When we walked in, his face turned a vivid shade of crimson, his confidence crumbling the moment he saw us. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice betraying his nerves. "This," Claire said, her voice firm and resolute, "is your reckoning. We know everything, and you're going to face the consequences." I handed him a copy of the file, watching as he scanned its contents. His bravado disintegrated with each passing moment. He stumbled over apologies and excuses, grasping at anything to salvage the situation. But Claire and I weren't interested in his words. She had already begun her divorce proceedings, and Martin's career, built on a facade of integrity, was poised for a dramatic fall. As we left his office, I felt a sense of closure. Emma and Martin had made their choices, and now they were living with the repercussions. For me, it wasn't about revenge, it was about reclaiming my life. Hashtag, 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 moving forward. In the months that followed, I focused on rebuilding. I threw myself into work, rekindled old friendships, and even started dating again. The wounds of betrayal didn't vanish overnight, but they became part of my story, a testament to my resilience. One evening, as I sat in my new apartment, sipping whiskey and gazing out at the city lights, I realized something profound. For the first time in a long time, I felt at peace.